Now, the former director of UCAS, that's the University Application Process Organisation, they're warning that thousands of British students face missing out on places to foreign applicants at the UK's top universities.
Universities are apparently looking for more international students because they pay higher fees compared to domestic students.
Yeah, it's all tied in with all the cost of living issues and rising inflation, and universities really struggling to make ends meet. So we're asking this morning, should universities be putting Brits first?
Martin Daubney says students from this country should be prioritised. And Diana Beech, who's here in the studio, says foreign students are the key to the university experience.
We should say who Diana is, shouldn't we, first of all? She's the CEO of London Higher, which is a think tank which represents, I think, 50 universities and colleges across the capital. So
is it, Diana, about learning or is it about making money, making a profit?
Good morning, Eamon, and good morning, Isabel.
Morning.
Thank you for having me on the show today. Universities in the UK are extremely diverse communities, and we need these diverse communities to enhance our learning environments, whether you're a home student or an international student. It enriches the academic experience, it brings new diversity of thought, and really it is about creating a learning environment in which everyone can excel.
But Diana, no one's saying that foreign students shouldn't have a place. I think the concern is the rapid increase in numbers of those because they pay significantly higher fees and therefore squeezing out a number of, particularly, I understand, sort of children in the middle who are from sort of families that are just about managing, as opposed to perhaps those who get supported through the system.
I understand concerns about growing international student numbers, but what I'd like to emphasise this morning is that there is enough capacity in the system. In the UK, we are lucky to have over 160 universities, a third of which are here in London. We represent over 50 universities and higher education colleges. There are enough places for everyone, and there's enough capacity in the system.
Are there really enough places for everyone? Yeah?
In those 160 universities, if you work it out, there must be tens of thousands of courses. Not everybody is going to be applying for the same course.
But Martin, the head of UCAS, or former boss of UCAS, was concerned about those top universities, many of those children striving from this country, many indeed British but from diverse backgrounds, and simply will be facing no's when they come to their applications.
Yeah, we have to face facts that British students are now second-class citizens in the system because they pay less, because foreign students pay more. 485,000 foreign visa applications were applied last year. That's an 81% increase since 2019. And what happens is that universities are preferring overseas students simply because they pay more. As a consequence, the poorest students are priced out in the market. This all starts to go wrong in the 90s when universities basically became businesses. And now they're little more than finishing schools for the wealthiest students from abroad. And those who are most affected are the white working classes. They're the least likely now to attend British universities. And a part of that is because it's too expensive. I got a full grant. I'm a coal miner's son, and I got a national coal board top-up. I was the first boy in my family to make it to university, and I've repaid that investment many, many times in the tax I've paid over the years. But boys like me, girls like me, they don't bother anymore. It's too expensive to take on this massive debt. And universities are competing for the wealthiest overseas students because they want money. It's a business. It's not about outcome. It's about business and it's about profit. And those who have suffered the hardest are the British pupils.
I have to come in on the back of that and say, yes, international student numbers have gone up, but so has domestic demand for higher education. We now have more home students than ever before going to our universities. So that shows that demand for higher education is just increasing. And in fact, it's projected to increase even more until 2035. We are now at the start of a population growth in 18-year-olds in this country. We're predicted to need at least 365,000 more full-time places in the next 10 years.
But my point is those who can afford it are able to buy this service. And what I'm saying is those at the bottom, the working classes, can't afford it and are being priced out. There's no scheme to help them. There are no bursaries to help white working class people. There are no grants, there are no top-ups. They're being forced out of the market by a corporate system that favours the wealthiest. You have to admit that.
This is exactly why we need international students. International students bring a lot of money into universities. They actually subsidise the courses that home students do. And if they weren't there, they wouldn't be able to study these courses.
But Martin, I mean, that is a fair point, isn't it? We're seeing the financial pressures that these institutions are facing. Without the foreign money, yes, you might have British students, but perhaps you won't have the institutions.
What I'm saying is, if people were given a fair leg up in life, like yesterday, the front page of the Sunday Times says a reading and writing scheme for black children only in British schools. Outright, it's racism. What I'm saying is, there is no scheme or bursary to help the neediest, the factually, now statistically provable neediest. There's no scheme to help them. What I'm saying is there should be, particularly in things like nursing. Why don't we have bursaries to get those people's leg up? Instead, you just brazenly admitted there this is simply about profit. And overseas students pay the most, and that's why they're welcomed in with open arms. And those who need this the most to break cycles of generational social depravity, they're absolutely swept to one side and forgotten.
There might not be financial support offered to children from different backgrounds in this country, but certainly the top universities, say Oxford and Cambridge, the vast proportion now of pupils applying are from state backgrounds, and actually it's almost impossible to get in if you have been through a private school system. There is a lot of pressure on the universities, not only to bring in foreign money, but also to up the number of poor students coming in.
Yeah, but the fact of the matter is, through the housing system, to live near a good state school or a grammar school or a private school, you have to be well off. So we have different tiers of education. And those are the kids that are the most likely to get into universities, not the poorest kids. What I'm saying is, there's not a single initiative or scheme or bursary in Britain to help the neediest pupils, the white working classes, the lower classes. There's nothing out there for them. And as a consequence, they're being forgotten and they're being just airbrushed from this entire system. That's my point.
Does he have a point, Diana?
Not at all. I mean, universities are autonomous institutions and they control their own admissions processes. And we just need to look to London. London has the highest proportion of disadvantaged students, the most ethnically diverse students. I'm talking pre-university in this country. But what has happened is their school attainment has absolutely excelled over the past decade. So actually, these students are some of the highest performing students in the country at the moment. Yes, they are from disadvantaged backgrounds, working class, if you like, but they are getting the grades to go to university, and that is why we're seeing the numbers increase.
Folks, thank you both very, very...
Go on, Martin. You
started.
Yeah, I was about to say, so we're seeing a huge number of overseas students, and 40% of those are remaining in the country. So that's an extra thing. So that's 100,000 people, plus their dependent children and relatives per year. That places a huge strain on the housing stock, on social services. This is an issue where British people are just always at the back of the queue.
OK. Martin Daubney, Diana Beech, thank you both very much indeed.
Thank you very much.